Hey guys, I'm Matt Skollar. Welcome to Single Chef. I'm just your classic single guy with the single guy's fridge, single guy ingredients. The difference is I know how to use these ingredients very simply and very quickly to make something that tastes great that you just can't mess up. So good that even a woman will like it. But if you don't take my word for it, you can't not take our lovely Lily's word for it. How you doing tonight, Lily?
I'm good, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's great to be here.
So what are you cooking tonight?
I'm glad you asked. Tonight I'm going to do my version of, American classic meat and potatoes. And we're going to use our 10 single chef ingredients that we use for every meal. And let me just go over those real quickly. That is canola oil. We've got Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce. You got to have some hot sauce in your cabinet, guys. If you don't, go get some. We got some ketchup, garlic powder. I've got some salt and pepper. And our secret ingredient, little Thousand Island dressing. Plus what I bought tonight. And I like to keep it really simple on Single Chef. So all I bought tonight was some a sirloin steak, which I've been marinating a little bit, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing with that. Some Yukon Gold potatoes, guys. I'll show you here, some potatoes. And a jalapeno pepper and an onion. So, I don't know about you, but I'm starving.
I am starving.
So let's do this quickly, and let's make a meal, right?
Sounds great.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, guys, if anybody's in the room, Lily is on the computer right now. So if you have any questions that you want to ask her, she'll ask me. We'll try to answer it during the course of the show. So first, what I have here is I've got a big fat sirloin steak that's in a bag. It's in a bag because previous to the show, I've been marinating it, which, for time's sake, I didn't want to do that right here on the show, but all I did was put salt and pepper in here and some Worcestershire sauce. Let it sit for a couple hours in the fridge. Basically, you want to take it out of the fridge, 20 minutes prior to cooking, so, it's better to cook it closer to room temperature than it is really cold. So I have that there, and I want to put that in a saute pan with some oil right away, just to get that going. So I'm just putting a fair amount of oil in the pan. Again, here at Single Chef, I tend not to measure. That's really not in my vocabulary when it comes to cooking, so it's just all about feeling. So that's how much oil I felt like putting in. So I'm just going to take our steak out, wash my hands beforehand as always. I also rinsed the meat. I'm just going to show you on camera here. It's a little, you see that it's coated there in some Worcestershire, some salt and pepper. And before I did that, I rinsed it with some water because you just want to rinse your meat, whatever you're cooking, just beforehand and then pat dry it. So to start it here, and I'm just going to let that saute. But actually, I'm going to transfer this pan here to a hotter stove over here. So follow me over here, guys. I've got a burner over here that's already been on. So that's going to really get hot there in a second, as you can already hear. That's sizzling up real nice. Next thing I want to do is I want to get working on these potatoes. Ooh, that's sizzling up really nice. That might be out-sizzling me. All right, we'll just deal with it.
Nothing out-sizzles you, Matt.
Never?
Ever.
My gosh. I love having you here, girl. I'm going to take this onion and this jalapeno pepper, and I'm start chopping it. And this is going to be for our potatoes, our mashed potatoes, because it's going to add some flavor, obviously. And again, if you don't like onions, that's fine. Don't put onions in your dish. I like onions. It's part of being a scholar. It's what my pop always said. So I put onions in my food. And also with the jalapeno, that's like my Latin side. As a Latin Jew, I find myself to be conflicted and passionate at the same time. I'm going to throw jalapeno pepper in there. And that's just going to give it some pop, some zest. So I'm not going to put too much, but I'm just going to chop like a quarter of it. As you can see, I'm going to save this half for my next Single Chef meal because I'm going to use that again. So I'm just going to chop this up into little slices. And I'm going to flip that steak in just a little while because I'll show you in a second that that's probably getting really nice and charred right now, which is what we want.
Matt, how do you like to eat your meat?
With a fork and knife? Can you be a little more specific?
Rare.
Temperature. Good call. Depends what I'm cooking. If I'm cooking a hamburger, I like my hamburgers more on the medium side. I don't like them too like pink,
Yeah.
where the where the water is running out. But with a steak, I like to have some pink in there.
Yeah, that's good.
So basically like medium rare,
Beautiful.
and that's why I got to flip those in a second. But I'm pretty confident that it'll be just fine by the time I flip it. So I'm gonna cut up these onions here. Got those nice and cut. Let me go check on the steak right now. What about yourself? How do you like your steak?
Same.
Yeah?
Medium rare.
Okay,
Little
cool.
juicy.
So let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, baby. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, there you go. We got that nice, brown crust on there. That's as a result of not only the hot oil, but also the marinade that's on there, which is crisping up right now. So we're only going to keep that on there for about 3 minutes on each side. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish that in our broiler, just to, to give it another heating source, if you will. That'll finish the meat, and then we're going to let the meat sit, because what you don't want to serve, you don't want to serve hot meat like right away. You want to let it sit for 5 minutes. This way the juices it cools down a little bit so it doesn't burn your mouth, and then the juices just really soak in, and when you cut it, it's nice and juicy. And if you're like me, or if you're not like me, I watch a lot of cooking shows, guys. I don't know, Lily, do you like watching like Food Network and those stuff?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're like me, I love watching that stuff because, it's just fascinating to me to see these trained chefs do their thing, and they crank out some amazing food. The problem is, and it's not a big problem, but is that I find that it's really hard to duplicate that stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, because I kind of wanted to show like the average everyday dude out there like myself, and if you happen to be a woman out there watching, please, you're welcome to watch too, but just kind of like, take some really simple ingredients, and, it's not brain surgery by any means. It just makes something that, you can be confident about serving, not only to yourself, but to hopefully a woman or a guy pal, whoever you're hanging out with, that is going to taste good, and maybe impress them a little bit. All right, so I've got my veggies in here with some oil, and that's going to be for the mashed potatoes. And actually, I am going to put a little more oil in there because I want that to get nice and sautéed. What I've done with the potatoes, guys, is for time's sake, I've actually put those in the microwave for about 5 minutes. And what that does is that cuts down my cooking time. What you can do also is you can put them in a pot of water, boil the potatoes beforehand, which takes about, 20, 30 minutes. This way they're nice and soft and ready to be smashed. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I save time. I put them in the microwave, 5 minutes, boom. They're ready to be smashed up, if you will. I have this device here. If I don't have this, I will just use my fist or a knife or a fork or whatever I have. But I happen to have one of these now. So I'm just going to smash these up a little bit. And let me show you guys on camera what I'm doing. And I'm going to add a few things to this right now before I throw it in with the veggies, which are sautéing here. And that is, I'm just going to do some salt, and that's pepper, but you get the idea. It's good to look at what you're putting in instead of looking at a camera. This is salt, fair amount of that. I have my garlic powder here. I'm going to throw some of that in.
Matt, we have a couple questions.
Really?
Yeah.
Excellent. What do we got?
So the first one is from Lindy28.
Okay.
She wants to know 2 questions, actually.
Yeah?
First, can you use any other veggies?
Can I use any other veggies?
Yeah, to, do you
Absolutely. Lindy, I can use other veggies. Why don't you throw out a suggestion? I'd be more than happy to use them.
And her second question is how long should you marinate?
The steak?
Yeah.
Beforehand? Actually, thanks, Lindy, for reminding me that I had to take the steak off. I'm going to do that and let that sit for a minute. And actually, before I answer her question, let me just take a look and see where we're at with that steak. I'd say the marinade anywhere between, if you want to get really, fancy, you can do a marinade up to a day before. If you don't have the time, put it in a few hours before. You can do it a half hour before. Either way, whatever you have time for, do it. There's no rules or regulations. You don't want to marinate something for like a week, because then, probably going to be, see, let me show you what's going on with that. But that was a good question. And if you have any vegetables you'd like me to cook with other than my normal onion and jalapeno, go ahead. I'll do that. Okay, see how we got that meat is nice and, you know, pretty much raw in the middle? Not raw, but it's very, very red. That means I'm going to throw it back in that saute pan just for another minute and cover it before I put it in the broiler. So let me go do that real quick.
Matt, we have another question.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I like this interactive stuff. Let's hear it.
This one's a little spicy.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
This is from Rosie64.
Hey, Rosie, how you doing?
She wants to know if we're an item.
If we're an item?
Yeah.
Well,
She
why
said,
don't you take that, Lily?
An item? No, this one's totally directed at you.
You know what? No, officially we're not an item. But I dig her very much. I've enjoyed her company in the time I've known her. She's a great gal, and you never know what'll happen in life. How's that for an answer, Rose?
I think she liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Rose, are you single? Do you live in L.A.? Going back at you. No, seriously, I'm digging these questions. It's the first time we're doing the questions things, guys, and actually it's kind of cool. So don't hesitate to answer, to ask whatever you want. Okay, so just let me show you here again. I'm going to use this camera. So now that just putting it back on the flame, or I'm sorry, on the stove and covering it for a minute, don't be fooled by it looks like it's all cooked through here, but that's just that layer. But it's a little more cooked through now. So if you're counting time, I'd say about 7 minutes total from one side to the other is how much we had it, how long we were pan frying it, if you will. Here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to transfer this stuff because this thing is not hot enough for me. I need to put it in here so it gets really hot, and there's still some oil, and here's our veggies that have been working. I'm going to put this on the fire, and that's how I'm going to cook my mashed potatoes. In the meantime, if you want to show this, Maddie, here on the camera, I'm going to throw a little bit of, this is just half and half. If you happen to have some milk at home, whatever you've got, I happen to have half and half, so I'm using that. You could put that in your potatoes. You want to put too much, but just enough to give it to coat it and sink in. I'm putting a little bit of butter. I'm trying not to go too unhealthy on us, but a little bit of butter for 3 potatoes is not that bad. And I'm just going to work that in. I'm going to mix that up a little bit, and then I'm going to throw it in our sauteed onions and jalapenos on the pan with some oil, and that's going to cook that baby up right. So here we go.
Matt, we have another question.
Excellent.
Yeah. So this one is from a guy. He wants to know from a guy's perspective of shopping for steak.
Okay.
This is from Frank.
Right on.
He says he never knows what to get when he goes to the supermarket. So what does he ask for?
In terms of steak?
Yeah.
Well, you know, depending on what supermarket he goes to, you know, what he should do is I would ask Frank, like, what kind of steak do you like? Do you like a leaner steak? Do you like a steak with more fat content in it? Do you want it on the bone, off the bone? And then if there's a butcher, you know, in the meat section, pick his brain a little bit, or her brain, and, you know, ask those questions. And, you know, find out, hey, which is the best technique to cook this steak? Is it over, you know, an open flame, or is it better in the oven or on the stove? You know, those kinds of questions. I hope that helps Frank out. Because, you know, when you don't know something in life, guys, you ask. Otherwise, you never learn. So, great question. Just ask your local, you know, the guy behind the counter. He'll be able to answer that question for you, buddy. I'm putting a little more half and half in there because we want these potatoes to, you know, the starch in the potatoes just absorbs that stuff so quickly that you have to add a little more liquid to it. So, I'm just going to let that sit. I'm going to look at our time right now. We're doing great on time. And I'm just going to stir this a little bit more and turn down the flame a little bit because that's really hot. So Lily,
yeah,
I forgot to ask you.
Yeah.
You're a Southern California gal, yes?
Yes, I am.
You born and raised in this area?
Born and raised.
So where would you go, like, to get, you know, just some good old steak and potatoes type of deal?
Steak and potatoes.
Yeah.
Well, I hear that Kraft has really good steak.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where's Kraft? For those of us that don't know.
Century City.
Okay.
Area. Mm-hmm.
Yum, yum. Sounds good.
And if you're feeling like really having a night out on the town, Maestro's.
Maestro's.
Yeah.
Do they have any Peter Luger? They don't have any Peter Luger here. Do they have a Peter Luger steakhouse? Or Maxie's?
I don't know.
Okay, that's just New York. I'm showing where I'm from, guys. I'm from New York. Those are the big steakhouse. I actually, my buddy here, one of my best friends is here, Billy. He's sitting over here, and he's been living in LA longer than I have. Billy, what about yourself, bro? Where do you go to get a good steak?
To get a good steak.
Besides your house, which I've had on your grill, which
is very delicious there. Brings them in from Argentina. To get a good steak in LA, you go to Dan Tana's. Actually, has a great steak.
Dan Tana's?
Dan Tana's has a good steak and like a good kind of Chicago atmosphere.
Yeah? Why all the attitude? Why are you throwing so much attitude my way?
Huh?
What's up with all the attitude? I just asked where you get a good steak.
I'm trying to help you out.
I was just trying to be funny, guys. Going for a laugh. All right. What I just did now, so Dan Tana's, everyone. That's from my good friend Billy. So check it out. I'm gonna put a little bit of water in here to hydrate these potatoes. They're almost done, guys, but this is gonna make them a little creamier. We've already put a nice amount of fat in there, so it's okay to put a little water to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? To make them creamy. Creamier. To hydrate them. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn on the broiler in the oven, and I'm going to put that on high, and I'm just going to throw, once that's on, I'm going to throw the steak inside the broiler just for like 2 minutes. And before I do that, because, you know, the more flavor, the better, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to throw a little more Worcestershire on there just to finish those off. And a tad more pepper, because why not? So, I'm going to throw those back in the oven in just about a minute, and then that'll be done. We're going to let that sit for a few minutes before we eat it, because like I said, you want the meat to rest. And again, let me just double check here, because this is a big steak, so that's why I'm already cutting it up. It's okay, because we're all going to be sharing this anyway. Where'd my fork go? Here it is. Okay, let me just take a little jab in here. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys real quick. So this is where we're at right now with the meat. We're almost there. This is more on the rare side. I want it medium rare, so that's why I'm throwing it in the oven to finish it for like a minute, and that's just going to put it in the medium rare column where I want it. So let's check our oven. Okay, the broiler's on, so I'm going to throw it in there, guys. One piece at a time. Actually, we got a big Flintstone steak here. Put that in there. This happens to be an electric oven. I actually prefer, you know, an actual gas oven, but this works just fine too. Depending on what you have, it's okay. Either one you could use the same way. So, I'm going to chuck it in there, and I'm going to take my potatoes off and see if they're ready. And we'll bring this back over here, show you guys what we got here. I'm going to have to take, actually, Lily.
Yeah.
You want to come over for a second?
Yeah.
Come on over.
Matt,
Do you have any more questions?
Have you ever been to Capo?
Cabo?
Capo.
Have I been where?
Capo?
Capo.
Restaurant?
What? Oh, no.
We have
I'm
a
not.
viewer, N. Maslin.
Yeah?
Says that's where she would go for a good steak.
Oh, is that here in LA?
Yeah.
Capo? Okay. Well,
So put it on your list.
I will. I will. Appreciate the input.
Sure.
That's awesome. I'm really digging the viewer interaction.
She says best steak in town.
I love it. Okay, I'm gonna try these mashed potatoes. If you want to come over, we
Yes.
start getting the plates ready.
I would.
Cool. Loving your assistance as always. And
My
we're
pleasure.
almost gonna be ready to eat here, guys. Let me take a quick bite of this.
Oh, the plates are here this time.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Have you ever been to Cabo?
I have not been to Cabo either.
Don't get the steak down there.
Don't get the steak down there? Okay. Have you had a steak down there? Do you have a bad experience?
Your viewers probably don't want to hear about it.
Well, we'll have an after show next time. We'll talk about that. All right, so if you want,
Yes.
you can start plating that.
So good.
It's actually, you know what? It came out good. I usually put a little more spice in there, but we can throw some salt and pepper on there if it's not enough.
We're doing 3 servings.
Yeah, let's do 3 servings today.
All right.
Because we got a big hunk of meat here that we're working with. And that's going to be 1 more minute on the steak, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Is everyone in the room hungry? You guys hungry?
Yeah.
We got a big crowd here tonight, guys, so it's pretty exciting.
Big crowd watching, saying hi to
Awesome. Well, I mean, you know, you really can't go wrong with a well-cooked steak, or a well-seasoned steak and some potatoes. And normally I'd also make maybe a side of spinach with that, but for tonight I didn't. But if I were to do that, it would be real simple. I just chop up some spinach, put it in a saute pan, maybe some soy sauce, maybe a little garlic powder. And that would be it. It takes 2 minutes. Cool. So you're doing awesome right there.
Serve all of it.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Yeah,
What?
Chuck. Yeah, might as well. None of it goes to waste.
No, we don't waste here.
We do not waste. I'm gonna grab that steak right now because we got to get this show on the road. All right.
Looks so good.
I'm
It smells
excited.
good. Can you guys smell it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty hungry, so
Smells so good.
I'm just gonna start cutting that up. And while I'm doing that, I just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight in the room. I had a great time cooking for you all. This is Single Chef. We'll be here next week, again at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So come and join us then. We're going to try this real quick. Here, Lily, do you have a fork? Here, try that piece right there.
Okay.
Let me know what you think. I know I said to let
Will
it
you cut
sit
it
for a
for
few
me?
minutes. Yeah, let me cut that. It's a big honker. Here, let's both try.
Super. All right. Oh, damn.
Good.
Yeah.
Came out all right.
That's some good business.
But they got to hear from you. Good?
It's good.
What about the taters?
Fantastic. So super.
Here, let me show real quick. That's what,
They're really
that's what our
good.
taters are looking like, guys. My plating skills are tremendous, too, as you can see. Well, as a single guy, we don't have to worry about plating too much. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time on Single Chef.